testing. Hi friends, I'm Jenica Hill and welcome back to my channel, which is all about embracing and celebrating your full magical self. We're keeping that blooper, by the way. Because you, my friend, are magical. And this is very exciting because I have my very first ever guest, Cassie. She is my acting friend. She pole dances. She is learning how to breathe fire. And she is like one of the coolest people that I know. So I was like, who better to have as my first guest than Cassie, who like inspires me to be my full magical self all the time.
Yeah. I'm very honored and probably blushing. Yeah, no, I'm very happy to be here. Yeah. I've never done anything like this before, so this is really exciting, and yeah.
So Cassie, what do you want the viewers to know about you? Any special thing that you do that you just, I don't know. What makes you happy? What do you love? What like...
Okay. I love so many things. I love coffee, and I also love people. Cheers to that. Yeah, I love people. I love life. I love traveling. Acting is a wonderful kind of portal to all of those things, I think, which is why I do love acting, dance, theater, singing, any kind of self-expression. You mentioned pole dancing and fire breathing. I like learning things that are new and scary for me. So yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so since you're my first guest, this is going to be like a guinea pig moment. I hate that saying because that's animal testing, but my first question is always going to be, what does it mean to you to be your full magical self? Or when you hear that, what does it make you think of maybe about your life or your experience?
I think that being your full magical self means fearlessly embracing your own authenticity, almost wearing it like armor, and going out into the world without any kind of self-doubt. Just totally having your own back.
I love that. Having your own back.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
There's this weird kind of, it's not weird, I don't know why I said weird, but when I'm nervous for something or before an audition or anything really that scares me, I always tap myself on the back twice. And it's kind of like this little tick thing that I do to get myself like ready to go. It's kind of like, okay, got my own back.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just talked about in a video maybe 2 weeks ago about like actually maybe it was the last video, 2 weeks ago, about power poses during auditions. Like there's science behind it. I don't know if you've seen Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, but she talks about presence and how like different things like that actually change your body.
Oh, for sure.
And the way you see yourself. So I love that yours is like, you got this.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like turning your switch on, you know, before a scene, like having something physical to do to get yourself ready. And I think that one is mine probably.
Yeah.
Because like a switch, I don't know why it like never resonated with me, although it is a great idea. But yeah, it's got that little mind-body connection.
Yeah. To give you some context, we were in a Meisner class together, and we would turn a switch on to be like ready to act in the class. So that's where that comes from. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So there's something about Cassie that I find very cool and interesting, and I just know that you will too. She is in a polyamorous relationship. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, we used to say ethically non-monogamous because, and I'm still learning. I know that non-monogamy is more of like unattached sexual relationships with people, whereas polyamory kind of moves into like having specific partners that you see and spend time with and almost date. And there's still a lot to learn. There's like a gray area in the middle there that I'm not quite sure where I fit into, but I've been consistently seeing the same partners for 2 of them for almost 2 years now, and one of them for a little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that might like lean more toward polyamory.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they also have other partners that they see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool. So then explain to the viewers, like, I'm curious, how did you figure out that that was something that you and your partner, would you call him what do you call
I say
him?
partner, but I also have said boyfriend.
Is he like your
really...
main partner? Like, what do you...
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like...
I don't know all the terms.
Same.
Yikes.
We're all learning.
Yeah.
I met my partner in 2014, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
And we dated exclusively, I guess, just seeing each other for a couple of years. After 1 year in our relationship, I moved to New York, and we did long distance for a year. And then after that year in New York, I was like, hey, I'm gonna move to Atlanta now. Is that still, like, you still want to do this? And he was like, I'm all in, let's go. So I lived in Atlanta for a year, 2016, and after a year in Atlanta of doing long distance, it was finally like, okay, let's just move in together.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved down south, and we've been living together ever since 2017, and I think it was in 2018 that I remember the day quite clearly, actually.
Yeah, sure.
I was so nervous. I think I had been nervous about him moving down. Taking the next step in our relationship was something that was a little scary for me. Mm-hmm. And I was very open to it, but also just kind of like, are we ready for this? This is the logical next step, but are we both ready for this? Mm-hmm. And once he moved down, everything was wonderful. We lived together so well. We never fight. He's not allowed to do the laundry, only me, because he ruins things, but he's great at doing the dishes.
That's why you don't fight.
That's literally why. Yeah. But there was one day where I was thinking to myself, context, I was living with my sister as well. She was living with us, my younger sister. Mm-hmm. And she would go on dates all the time and explore, like, people in Atlanta, exploring men, exploring women. Mm-hmm. And I had, like, kind of a twinge, a little feeling of jealousy, because I was like, I had never been with a woman. I had never been in a threesome with, like, a couple. I had never been with an older man, which was like a kink that I had wanted to explore. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, is it wrong for me to have these feelings of wanting something outside of my monogamous relationship? And I talked to a couple of friends that are poly that I know, and they kind of reaffirmed it's not bad to have those feelings. Like, it's totally normal. And I had a panic attack because I knew that I had to talk to my partner about it. And lo and behold, I mentioned it to him, and he was like, yeah, I've thought about that before too, but I just didn't want to say anything. So we were both kind of like, oh, okay, cool. So we're kind of on the same page here. And yeah, a couple months later, we got on dating apps, which, like, so not good at dating apps. But I don't know anyone that's, like, actually good at dating apps.
I just find them so interesting because I've been with my partner for so long, 14 years.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're a game, you know?
Yeah.
So actually, my partner and I have talked about really wanting to get on one just to play around and see what happens, you know? But we never have because we were scared. Was it like when you got on the apps, was it this moment of like, oh, this is real? And was it scary? Or was it when you went on your first date that it was more that?
I think it was scarier actually going on a date because you're right, like it did kind of feel like a game, kind of like what pictures do I think I'm attractive in? Like how do I, and we told everybody up front. I think there's certain sections on dating apps where you can put in information about yourself, and we both told everybody that we were ethically non-monogamous and that it would be like, I think my partner even had something kind of silly in his like able to rent but not own or something like that. I don't even know.
I love that.
Just like a clever way or a playful way to say like, we're down to, but we're not gonna, you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna marry you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were really for it. I obviously, like, a lot more men were like, oh, cool, a chick that I could sleep with without any attachments, perfect, sign me up. Whereas with my partner, it was like, oh, does your girlfriend know you're doing this? Like, he got a lot of, like, questions like that, or a lot of, like, women kind of ghosting him last minute, or, like, bailing and being like, I don't think this is something I'm interested in.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be one of my questions, if you feel like people are comfortable being in that situation, or if they tend to want more from you than you can give.
Yeah. At first, we kind of went, like, crazy, like, going on dates all the time, because it was new, and we were like, hey, babe, I got a date tonight at this time, like, and I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm going to be at work, have fun, text me, let me know you're safe, and we kind of were seeing different people all the time. But after doing that for, I want to say, probably a year of just random people, it got old really quickly. And it was kind of like, for me personally, craved more of a connection with my dates. So seeing random people here and there wasn't as fulfilling as I thought it would be. Sex is sex, and, like, kind of mindless robotic sex is fun sometimes, but I'm such an empath. So, like, I wanted to have more of, like, a relationship, for lack of a better word, with the people that I was sleeping with.
Okay.
Which was then what led me to kind of, like, establish reoccurring partners that I would see. The people I liked the most, I would go back and see all the time, and it was also safer too, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense. So I was talking to a friend the other day about, like, opening up marriages and things like that. And I know you're not married, but, you know, you're with your partner, and you guys have been together so long. What's your take on, because my friend was saying, oh, I'm just worried that I will, like, love another person so much that it'll, like, take away somehow from the love I have for this other person. So what's your, like, response, I guess, to that, based on your experience? We all know this is just, like, our take on things, but
I have thought about that a lot, because there were times where, so in your relationship, remember at the very, like, first couple years where it was like, we're having sex all the time, and I need to, like, put my face inside your face, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And then over time, it kind of, like, you still have sex, but not as often. It's more of, like, let's just, like, get a pizza and watch a movie, drink a little wine tonight, and cuddle up. Like, when we sleep at night, I need to have my leg touching your leg, but we don't have to cuddle, kind of thing.
Right.
Like, it turns more into this fierce companionship.
Yeah, that's
There's
a great
still
way to put it.
passion there, you know?
Right.
So that was kind of like what my partner and I's relationship had morphed into. And I worried at first when I was seeing these new people, like, am I catching feels for them? Like, it's very passionate. There's a lot of unknown. Like, we're still learning each other's bodies. We're still learning each other's minds. Like, am I catching feels? And I would step back and think about, like, what would this person give me that I don't already have in my own relationship? Like, I have everything that I want in my other partner. He is my best friend in the entire world. Like, I think last weekend he went to Arizona for a bachelor party, and I was so excited to have the apartment to myself. Literally on my way home from the airport, I was like, shit.
You're like,
I'm really bored.
I'm gonna be lonely. What do I do?
I was so bored all weekend. I had no one to talk to. I didn't like not having him next to me in bed. Like, it was just kind of like,
I so get that. During the pandemic, especially, because we were, my partner and I were obviously together all the time.
Yeah.
And I think he planned to hang out with some, like, friends one night. And I had gone to this, like, sound bath thing, which was really cool. But I'm done with it. I was like, oh, he's out. And I panicked. I was like, what do I eat tonight? How am I going to do this by myself? Like, how do I live without him?
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
Like, my partner's always like, Cassie, it's, like, 1 o'clock. Have you eaten lunch yet? Like, he literally is just, reminds me to eat.
Yeah.
Reminds me to do this, keeps me on track. I'm never bored with him in the house. Like,
totally.
I don't know how to function without him, but not in like a, I need somebody to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You just get so, it's like a routine. You just get so like entrenched in each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like because my partner's a better cook and enjoys cooking more. So
Same.
when he's not around, I feel like I eat frozen pizza a lot, you know? Because I'm like,
quesadillas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like my go-to comfort food whenever he's not around. I'm just like, I guess I could just throw a tortilla on the stove and put some cheese in it, call it a day.
I'm going to have a quesadilla for lunch now.
Sounds good, right?
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was kind of, I guess, it is normal to catch feels for anyone that you're sleeping with, anyone that you get close to. I think that's totally normal. I think the line that you draw is just like what you would actually want. Is this person going to give me everything that I already have? Do I even want to give up what I have and go through all of the motions again of like getting to know somebody? Like, my partner and I are so comfortable with each other that like it's just, I can't imagine being that way with anybody else. So it's just kind of like, it's not worth it to me to like give up my relationship completely for anybody else.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like some people who watch this channel, because a lot of people have recently come out as bisexual or are still figuring it out, or they've come out as something, an identity other than straight. And I know, like, especially on the app Married Bees, there's a lot of bisexual married women who are curious about opening up their relationship but are terrified to approach their partner. And I know it worked out well for you because your partner was like, okay, yeah. But I'm curious, like, for people who are interested, what do you think communication-wise, like, helps keep your relationship really healthy? And what advice would you give somebody?
Definitely, like, you kind of have to be very fearless when it comes to talking about something that you want, especially something like this. Like, it's a very, very tender, touchy subject. But the best way to get through it is just to talk about it, just to be open. Like, if you're married to this person, if you trust this person, if you love this person, I would like to think that they'd be open to hearing what you have to say. And if they don't, then you can go from there and just keep talking about it. But I had found that the more I held things inside and was afraid to share with my partner, it wasn't benefiting either one of us.
Right.
And I think just the other day I had like a thought or something came up where I sat down and was like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. And it's like he always knows whenever I'm like about to just like rip the Band-Aid off and open the communication vessel and be like, here we go, let's talk about this now. Because he put down his iPad and he was like, all right, we're going to have a talk. And I was like, yeah. And I was just like, how do you feel about this? And it's like the more you communicate, the less scary it gets every time.
So in terms of your dates and everything, do you share what they're like with each other? Do you share your experiences, or do you have like off-limit things that you don't share to like keep each other emotionally, I guess, protected? Or?
Yeah. I think it's a read the room kind of situation. One of my partners, he's so lovely. He actually prefers to date women that are poly.
Oh,
so
cool.
He sees me and he sees one other woman who's in an open marriage.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that she only sees him as well. So it's kind of like, I don't feel uncomfortable talking to him about any other dates. However, there's one partner that I have who is a single man, and it's just kind of a fling for him, and we get along really well. We have great chemistry, but I don't feel like it would be cool to talk about my other experiences with other men. I'm still kind of testing the waters there, because I don't know if that would hurt his ego or if that would make him feel some type of way.
What about your main partner?
My main partner?
Yeah.
We love sharing details.
Really?
In fact, I'm a little more like, so how was she? Or like, what did you guys do? Did you learn anything? Like anything that we want to play around with? Whereas with him, he likes hearing about the night, but he doesn't like extreme details. And I've noticed that at the beginning of us opening our relationship up, I didn't feel like I could talk about my experiences at all, because there was obviously still a little bit of like jealousy and judgment in there.
Right.
And I felt it too, like with a woman that he had started consistently seeing. I like got like kind of jealous, but I knew that it was coming from my own insecurity and not necessarily anything that she was doing. Which is huge. Anytime I've gotten jealous, it's been me projecting or feeling like there's something wrong with me, and there's just not. Like, comparing her and I would be like comparing bananas and apples.
Kind of like acting.
Very much like acting. Yes.
Very interesting.
I feel like everything goes back to acting for
us. I know.
Yeah.
That's so true. So, I mean, kind of what I'm hearing, I'm just going to tell you what it sounds like to me, because I'm also probably projecting, but it sounds like to have a really healthy poly relationship, it's so helpful to like know yourself super well.
Yes.
And to feel really, really secure in who you are as a person, so that you're not jealous. Because I know whenever I've talked about this topic with people, they're like, I'm just so worried I would be so jealous. And I know my partner and I are terrified of that. Like, we're not planning on opening our marriage up. Partly because we've only been with each other our whole lives. Yeah. So it's like, there's something so sacred about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think the jealousy piece scares people a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was something I was afraid of, too. Not at first. Like, at first it was like, this is going to be fun. And then, like, once you sink into something, all the feels start arising and different things come up that you hadn't really anticipated. And it's kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? And that's where communication is so important. I would just be like, hey, I know you really like seeing so-and-so. She can do this thing that I can't do for you. And I feel jealous about it. What, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Just very transparent.
It's like the road and then a bump, and you gotta like deal with the bump, and then you go over it or whatever. That's really cool. That's like any relationship.
For sure. And if you're with someone who's great, it makes it easier, I think, to get through.
Yeah. So what would you say, this is the last question about this, then I want to talk about acting a bit, but what would you say is like the biggest misconception about open relationships, in your opinion?
I will speak on this from a woman's perspective, because this is something that I've kind of like noticed with certain people that I've dated, and for this very reason I won't see them again. I think that a lot of men and maybe some women assume that if two people are in an open relationship, they are whorish. And as a woman, I feel like having multiple partners, guys kind of see that in a certain type of way. Some guys, not all guys.
Right, of course.
So I've kind of, and again, this could just be me projecting my own insecurity, but I've felt that on dates before, where I could tell guys are just kind of like, this is just a slam piece for me, and like, I don't have to talk to her again after this, and it made me feel like, so I think, a common misconception with people that are poly or non-monogamous is that they're just like very promiscuous, and it's just not the case.
So interesting, because it's a similar stereotype for bisexual folks.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, just because you're attracted to both genders or multiple genders doesn't mean you want to have sex with everyone. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, it's just like we need to just leave ourselves alone and just like don't deny ourselves anything that we really want, and just kind of lean into that.
Yeah, because you're still, you find partners that you just really like being around. It's not like everybody's fair game.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, sure. I hope it helps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I always find it really interesting to talk to you, because I don't know a lot of people who are either open about it or open in their relationship. So, because I think there's like a lot of taboo around it in our society still.
There is still.
especially for if you're like older. I think our generation's a little bit better, but I'm sure if you're older, it's like frowned upon and whatnot by some people.
My parents like were not cool with it, and I told them.
They know.
Yes, I did. I'm so
That's so
like
cool though.
I know. I was expecting. I don't know what I was really expecting. My partner it's more of like a self secret for him. Like he likes having that like promiscuous kind of secret side of his life that only a few of his really close friends know about. Whereas I'm like blah 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 blah. I'm polyamorous, just because I want it to be more of a accepted thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what this channel for me is all about. Like giving people a voice who don't normally have one, because I think that's been so important with the internet, like TikTok and YouTube and all that. I think people see themselves represented and they feel less lonely because we're all out there. We're all weird.
Yeah.
We all have our things, you know.
We're all weird.
We're
so
all
true.
weird. I don't care who you are. Like there are people who try to act like they're the perfect version of the American like suburban family or something. I don't know why I said suburban. Sorry if you live in the suburbs. It's not about that. But you know what I mean. Like like the beaver cleaver kind of deal. And it's like nobody is that.
No.
You know? This is so refreshing.
Keep trying to put ourselves into molds.
Yeah.
We just gotta be our full magical selves.
Yes. I love it. And speaking of, we touched on acting already and like how acting, like everybody's apples and bananas or whatever. I forget what fruit you used.
I think that was it. I think those were the fruits.
I just remembered bananas because I was like, that sounds good. I'm clearly hungry right now. But I think you are someone who I know has been through a journey with that lately. So I would love to hear more about that. Like with your acting, how have you learned to accept who you are or just like be your full magical self as an actor and not put yourself in a mold?
Yeah, I think quarantine had a lot to do with that too. I mean, it gave us all like a lot of reflective time.
Yeah.
And reflection time.
Reflective reflection.
Blah, 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 blah. Apples,
Same
bananas.
Thing. Apples, bananas.
All this. But yeah, it was really hard not being able to act last year at all.
Yeah.
I felt so far away from my craft, and thank God we had our online class because that was the only thing I was really able to do and write and paint and dance and stuff in my own apartment, but not being able to do that with other people was hard for me. But I was thankful for that time because I really got to know myself a little bit better. Do we ever really fully know ourselves?
I think it always changes.
It always changes.
Yeah.
Like one day I'll be like, I got it. I know exactly who I am. And the next morning I do something like totally not in character of myself. And I'm like, oh. But yeah, acting, it's easy to kind of look at it and immediately feel like you're not enough or you're not tall enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not talented enough, you don't do enough with your life, you're not interesting enough. And it's always like we beat ourselves over the head with these things and it's not serving us at the end of the day. I always hear in any kind of workshop that I do, they're always like, just be yourself. That's the best thing you can offer because no one else is like you.